In the timeless desert twilight, the name Cleopatra still casts a long shadow. Once a scholar queen of Egypt, she walked among the gods, even claiming to be the living incarnation of the goddess Isis. Yet at the end of her life in 30 BC, that great queen of the Nile disappeared from history under the murky waters of legend. Ancient writers like Plutarch hinted that after her dramatic suicide, Cleopatra and her beloved Mark Antony were buried together, near a temple of Isis. For over 2 millennia, their tomb has eluded discovery. Tonight, we embark on a voyage through time and sand to chase down the lost tomb of Cleopatra, guided by both the ghosts of history and the determined footsteps of modern explorers. Cleopatra VII Philopator was born in 69 BC into Egypt's Ptolemaic dynasty. A brilliant scholar fluent in many tongues, she was the first Ptolemaic ruler to actually live in Egypt full-time. Her court on the Nile was a dazzling center of culture and power. Cleopatra styled herself as the living goddess Isis, aligning with Egyptian religion to legitimize her reign. In life she was celebrated as a protector of her people. In death, however, her story would vanish into mystery. To her people, Cleopatra was more than a queen, she embodied the divine. Temples across Egypt honored Isis, and Cleopatra carefully connected herself to that powerful goddess. Ancient records suggest Cleopatra lived as Isis's avatar. It felt fitting then, that perhaps in death she might rest amid the very cult of Isis. Yet as kingdoms fell and rivers shifted, any earthly trace of the goddess queen began to fade, leaving only whispers and hieroglyphs in history. Cleopatra's fate became entwined with Rome. She famously formed a political and romantic alliance with Julius Caesar in 48 BC. They had a son, Caesarion, solidifying Cleopatra's power with Rome's backing. After Caesar's assassination, she allied with Mark Antony of the Second Triumvirate. Together, Cleopatra and Antony challenged Rome's rising general Octavian. Their bond of love and ambition would become legend. But for all her influence, Cleopatra's destiny hung on the outcome of Roman power struggles, not her Egyptian throne. Cleopatra and Antony became allies and lovers. With Cleopatra's navy at his side, Antony defeated Caesar's assassins. But in 31 BC at the Battle of Actium, Octavian's fleet routed theirs. The queen's warships steamed away toward Egypt in the fog of dawn. Defeat was crushing and Octavian's legions pursued. In Alexandria's palace gardens, the great lovers met their end. Ancient accounts tell how Antony fell on his sword, and Cleopatra, refusing to be paraded as a trophy of Rome, took her own life. Cleopatra died in August of 30 BC at just 39 years old. Roman general Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus, captured the city. Despite her rebellion, he granted Cleopatra and Antony royal funerals. Ancient historians like Plutarch and Cassius Dio report that Octavian completed their unfinished tomb and buried them together, in the same fashion. In Rome's political code, Cleopatra the rebel was no longer, she was now a foreign queen honored in death. But while Octavian recorded the ceremony, no one left directions to the tomb's location. After the funeral, the trail went cold. Alexandria would soon endure earthquakes and tsunamis that submerged parts of the city. Over centuries, the royal mausoleum disappeared beneath silt and sea. Legendary fragments emerged. Plutarch mentions Cleopatra moving between palace and temple in her last days, but the actual crypt was gone. Even the determined searches of antiquity failed. The great historian Strabo places Cleopatra's palace on the island of Antirodos, which later sank. For 2,000 years scholars assumed her tomb lay somewhere under the Mediterranean where Alexandria once stood. Enter Dr. Kathleen Martinez, a Dominican Egyptologist. In 2005 she dared a bold theory: Cleopatra might lie not beneath the city of Alexandria, but in the temple of Taposiris Magna, about 25 miles west. Taposiris Magna, meaning Great Tomb of Osiris, was a shrine to Osiris and Isis. Martinez reasoned Cleopatra, as an Isis priestess, might choose this sacred ground for eternity. She spent years digging through sands of Abu Sur. Martinez's search took root alongside others, but her conviction never wavered. Years of excavation began to pay off. Martinez's team unearthed dozens of bronze and silver coins. On many was Cleopatra's profile and name. They found altars and statue fragments bearing royal insignia. The crown jewel. In 2023 they discovered a foundation deposit, an inscribed stone plaque from 200 BC naming Ptolemy V and Isis. Its inscription confirmed Taposiris Magna was an Isis temple built by the Ptolemies, the same dynasty to which Cleopatra belonged. Martinez showed this to Egyptian authorities. It was proof her Isis temple theory had merit. The biggest breakthrough came in 2022. Martinez announced her team had discovered an enormous tunnel beneath the temple complex. Spanning 1,305 meters and partly submerged, the subterranean passage stretches deep underground. Martinez believes it was built as a secret entrance or escape route, possibly leading straight to burial vaults. As she told CNN, "This is an engineering marvel. It may be the key to finding the tomb of the last great queen." The idea ignited excitement. Could this hidden corridor connect to Cleopatra's chamber, or even Antony's? To follow the clues, Martinez didn't stop at dry land. She assembled a team, even inviting Robert Ballard, the Titanic finder, to scan the submerged ruins off Alexandria. Egypt's government lent marines and sonar equipment. The dives revealed strange evidence: colossal basalt columns and blocks lying on what used to be city streets, in places 10 kilometers offshore. Tests confirmed the basalt was the same material used in Taposiris Magna statues, proving this was no random reef but an ancient cityscape. Each discovery hinted at long-lost structures, raising the possibility that another temple or tomb lies under the sea. By now, every piece of evidence deepens the mystery. On land and underwater, the ruins whisper of a great complex waiting to be fully revealed. Martinez's team marked 5 promising sites underwater for future excavation. Yet despite the finds, coins, inscriptions, tunnels, Cleopatra's actual tomb has not yet been opened. Experts caution this might take years. If these discoveries help us find Cleopatra's tomb, Martinez said, it will be the most important archaeological find of the century. The excitement grows by the day. One imagines those submerged halls holding what water has hidden for 2,000 years. Not everyone is convinced by every clue. Some findings have sparked debate. A small marble bust found at Taposiris was claimed by Martinez to be Cleopatra, but others, including famed Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, argue it's likely a later Roman-style portrait, not her. Critics point out that without the tomb chamber, any artifact can only hint, not prove. Still, the evidence accumulated by Martinez's team is substantial. Coins boldly bearing Queen Cleopatra, temple inscriptions, and that secret tunnel. Whether each discovery is confirmed Cleopatra or not, they all feed the larger quest. Each piece of stone and metal is a step toward ending a story that began over 2,000 years ago. In 2025, the search rolls forward. Dr. Martinez is securing permits for new expeditions, both underwater and in the temple grounds. Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities has thrown its weight behind the project, providing resources and marine equipment to chase every lead. Each season brings new data: geophysical scans, sediment cores, sonar images. The tunnel is being mapped. The 5 underwater sites are being scheduled for excavation. In the courtyard of Taposiris, statues of Isis stand watch as history is made below their feet. The story of Cleopatra's tomb is no longer a footnote. It has become one of the world's hottest archaeological dramas. Digging for the tomb is a race against time and tide. Every dune shift and sea current can cover up a clue forever. The world watches as history's layers are peeled back. For many, Cleopatra's tomb is a symbol, the chance to bring truth to a queen maligned by history. She was the victim of Roman propaganda, Martinez reminded CNN. Uncovering her burial would restore her story in her own words. One last chance to let Cleopatra speak from the pages of antiquity. The path is treacherous, but with each discovery the team's spirits are bolstered. The tomb is still hidden, but never forgotten. Tonight, Cleopatra's lost tomb remains unclaimed. But the veil is lifting. What was legend is becoming fact, piece by painstaking piece. We have followed her journey from the gilded halls of Alexandria to the undersea ruins off its coast. Some things are clear from these adventures. Cleopatra was no fairy tale queen but a real human who fought to protect her kingdom, and her story is entwined with one of Egypt's most sacred sites. Whether the quest ends in Taposiris Magna or in the waves of Alexandria, the search itself has taught us to look differently at history. The lost tomb still awaits. When it is found, the world will finally hear Cleopatra's own voice again, 2,000 years after her passing.